Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to a few of you and those watching on the replay. Today is May 26th, 2022, and welcome to the Community Briefing, broadcasting live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles. My name is Gregory Sneed. I'm one of the co-hosts, and joining me is Crystal Mitchell and Stephen Turner, and in absente, Robin Phillips, our other co-host. And we're glad you are here. Today, our guest is Tina McKinnor, and she'll be joining us momentarily. A little bit about my background. I am a financial coach. I have a company, Lifesaver Financial Services, where I help my clients keep more of the money they make. I do that in three phases: life insurance, long-term care, and other insurance-related products. I'm also a financial coach and a financial literacy trainer. Put some information in the chat if you would like to feel better about your money. I think the other day I did a seminar and I wondered if people are on a speaking terms with their money. Yeah, we don't get along. So if you'd like to get on speaking terms with your money, I can help you out with that. So I'll put some information in the chat. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the queen of our community briefing, Ms. Crystal Mitchell.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you here. Hello, Tina. Glad to have you here as our guest today. Thank you guys for participating and viewing today's show. We're talking voting this week and next week because voting day, primary day, is right around the corner, and our voices matter more than ever right now. And so there's so many very important issues on the table. We need to have candidates that's going to fight for us, fight for our children, fight for our women, fight for our underserved, and change our current status. So I do want to thank you guys, and so please share this video, share and tell everyone about the community briefing. My name is Crystal Mitchell, and I am the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. I have my own business, Mitchell Business Solutions, where I provide resources and mentorship and education and training in the spaces of business development and growth and financial literacy for businesses, as well as accounting and bookkeeping. It's so important, guys, that we as a Black people stand on our own, and this platform was created for the purpose of providing us with a voice so that we have input on what's going on in our communities, in our businesses, and our families. So this program is sponsored and empowered by Recycling Black Dollars and the Black Business Association. Hello, Sarah. How are you? President of the Black Business Association, and our sponsors, Wells Fargo, Southern California Edison, and Southern California Gas. So welcome all to the business zone. I'm sorry, to the community briefing. I actually host another show called The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. I've been doing that for 7 years, so that was a Freudian slip. But I feel that media is our avenue to making change in our community. So that's why it's so important for us to have these platforms. My team, Mr. Gregory Sneed, Mr. Stephen Turner, and Ms. Robin Phillips, who is going through treatment. And right now she has COVID. On top of the fact that she's going through treatment. So prayers with her. She's been out there flindering and floundering with people. Y'all stay in the house. COVID is not over. Just stay at home. So with that, I am going to turn it back over to Greg so he can introduce our guest today, and we can hear about her and her plans for being in office and serving us. So back to you, Greg.
All right, all right. So those of you who are frequent guests, you know that when I introduce our guest speakers, sometimes I start with the most recent and go back to their start, and sometimes from their start to where they are today. So today I'm going to start with her beginning and take that path through. So she began when she had went to LA Southwest College. I mean, I've been going all the way back to there, okay? And got an associate's degree in business administration in accounting. So then she then continued that on and went to Cal State University, Dominguez Hills, and got a bachelor's degree in accounting. And so she left and started with the LA County Office of Education, LACO. And she was an auditor and a senior accounting clerk. And then something about that job or opportunity, she seemed to take a radical left turn or right turn. And I don't mean radical, but I mean just a wicked turn. And so she left the accounting and went and became a political treasurer with Kaufman Legal Group. So okay, it's still kind of like in the accounting side, all right. So then she got lured into being a campaign manager with Steve Bradford and Autumn Burke, and she did that for 8 years. And then she was chief of staff with the California State Assembly. So she was working there. She also did a stint as a total perspective radio personality. So yeah, so we looking for a nice little vocal qualities coming from her. And then the California Democratic Party, she was director of operations. And then she took a little time off, and then now for the last time, let's see, she is an owner of the McKinnor Group, so that's been going on, and she's doing California grassroots political influencer. And currently, she's the civic engagement director for LA Voice Pico. Her summary is that she's a proven leader in advocacy, legislation, community organizing, fundraising, event planning, campaign finance compliance, and campaign strategy, and maybe every once in a while a little accounting. Right? She is also running for office. Okay, I'm running from office, but she's running towards the office. And so without further delay, please welcome to the virtual stage Miss Tina McKinnor.
Hello, you guys. Good morning, the community briefing. And thank you guys so much for having me this morning. I love it. Thank you. You went way back and you grabbed all the good stuff. So I'll tell you guys take a little time to tell you a little bit about me, walk through that a little bit through my voice. I started my career at, excuse me, I'm a little hoarse. I've been talking to so many voters. I started my career at LA County Department of Social Services, actually. And I started in clerical when I was about 19 years old. While there was the first time that I encountered being in the union. I was a SEIU Local 660. It's no longer Local 660, so that kind of takes my age as me. It's now Local 721. And then at 20, by the time I was 20, I was a clerical shop steward, organizing clerks to walk out during bargaining. So, I was kind of feisty even at 20 and stepping into my leadership roles because I represented the clerks at the social services building. I earned my accounting degree while working at DPSS in accounting. I went to Southwest at night, had my two boys, have two sons, and well, I've been married twice, guys. Married and two boys, and going back to school. Then I went on to Cal State Dominguez, earned my BA, and then got the job at LACO as an auditor. Did that for several years. But while I was there, I did get bitten by the kind of political bug because I started the Lawndale Democratic Club and I started working in Democratic politics, especially after the Rodney King riots and all that stuff. I decided, look, I got two sons, can't sit on the couch anymore. I got to get up and volunteer. So I went from there. I met Steve Bradford, and he asked me to help out in his campaign. I did that. He was a city councilman at the time. In 2006, we lost by 110 votes to current Price. Neither one of us have lost since, so we stopped. We've been winning ever since, and I plan on winning this time. After Steve, Supervisor Yvonne Brathwaite Burke tapped me and asked me, I skipped Kaufman. I did some treasury in between the LACO and Steve. I was a political treasurer at Stephen Kaufman. I was a treasurer for two of our mayor candidates, then Speaker Bass, now Congresswoman Bass, and then Assembly Member Kevin DeLeon, now Councilman Kevin. So I stay out of the mayor's race because they're both my friends. And then I went on to work for Steve. Once we won, I went into his office, became the district director. When Supervisor Yvonne Brathwaite Burke asked you to do something, I stand on her shoulders. Of course, I ran her daughter's campaign. I didn't know Autumn at the time. We won. I went in. I did 3 legislative cycles in the assembly. Someone in the chat said I got fired from the assembly. I did not get fired from the assembly. I left the assembly. Miss Burke and I parted. We're in good terms. We parted because we had a little bit a different philosophy on policy, and so our policies weren't aligned. I left. The party asked me to be their operations director. I was the very first African American operations director, and I'm going to break this on the community briefing because I have never publicly talked about me being fired from the California Democratic Party because I've been holding my voice to bring it out. I'm writing a book about it, but you know what? I'm gonna tell it on this station right here with my Black folks. I was a whistleblower. 2 young women text me in 2018, the midterms to Donald Trump's campaign, right? California is huge. We're getting ready to win 9-10 seats. That's going to flip the House so we can have the Democrats can have the House. California really did help save the country. And what did we do? It was a big bus tour. 2 young women was on the bus. Some foul talk happened at a lunch table. I'm not going to go into all the details. Some foul talk happened around these 2 young women. They text me and they said, we've been talked foul to. We feel very uncomfortable. So I had the responsibility of 2 things. Not blowing up the party, right? The weekend that before Election Day. So this is Thursday before Election Day. We're trying to get back the House, not blow the party up and get these women to safety. So once I got these women to safety, I reported this to HR. Couple of weeks went by. The chair resigned. I got fired. I got fired for being a whistleblower. I got fired for defending women. Once I got fired, I'm a feisty person. So I get an attorney and I sue the party and I win $500,000 because I was right. And so so there we go. That takes care of the myth of Tina McKinnor got fired for being a hero from the Democratic Party. Yay. So now you people know if I put my own job on the line, I'm ready to fight the establishment. So I'm the one for this seat. I kept that. I didn't use it through the campaign, but hey, I didn't even politically use it. But today I'm going to tell it since people want to talk about it. So that's me. I'm a fighter. I want to tell you a little bit about the legislation that I want to do. My top 3 priorities are transformative justice. I'm sorry, I'm going to be quiet. You want to ask me a question? I have 1 minute.
I'm sorry, you had 3 things. I was counting with you. 1, okay.
Okay,
2,
1. Transformative justice, police accountability, immigration, and housing. It's 4, actually, because I tried to put transformative justice and police accountability in one bucket, but it's actually 4 issues. Those are my top priorities because when I've been working at LA Voice and LA Voice Action, and I love this place, you guys. It's a nonprofit that organizes about 59 multi-faith, multiracial congregations across LA County around those issues, around those 4 issues. So that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years. And it's just been amazing because last year I got to lead hundreds of clergy across California to help Mr. Bradford, my old boss, pass SB2, the Police Accountability Bill, which was a huge for California, which means that police officers can no longer be in San Francisco, do bad, be harmful to our community, get fired, come to LA County and work again. We've cut that out. Now they get decertified just like a doctor, an accountant like myself, any other person that's in business. They get decertified. So it's amazing, and we help him pass that. So now that I'm going into the legislature, which I'm going to say I'm your next assemblywoman, these are the issues that I want to tackle. The very first bill that I want to do, it's called the Police Accountability Bill, where we would make sure that the California ID Act where we will have every single person coming out of jail. This is simple. Get a California ID. The day they walk out, they have all their information. They could do this. They used to do this before Reagan. When Reagan came in office as governor, he got rid of this. This is something that where our people can come out, they could get a job, they could find housing, and if the police stop them, they won't be arrested because they have an ID. And so that's some simple stuff. I want to go in and do crack some things like this. This will enable people to get jobs. We want to treat people like human beings. So I'm going to be looking at solutions to help our brothers and sisters, our previously incarcerated brothers and sisters, come out and be treated in humanity. They've already served their time. It helps when you spend 3 years in this community and you get to talk to people and know what their need. Immigrants, our undocumented folks, Lord, today, they didn't have any safety net for 2 years during COVID. It is horrible. We've allowed people to come here and be here for years undocumented, so they are our brothers and sisters, and they should have some type of a safety net. I never want to see that happen again. COVID's not gone. Like you said, Crystal, stay in the house because COVID ain't gone. We don't know what's going to happen, and we can't have these people out here struggling on the streets. Housing. Oh, my Lord. We've never seen so much unhousing in our lives. I'm born here in California. I went to Wilshire Crest Elementary School, John Burroughs Junior High, and Hollywood High. I'm born and raised in California. I've never seen anything like this. And our faith-based community would love to build housing on their community. There have thousands of congregations. They suffered as well because people had to stop going to services. And so they already have the land. They could build actually low-income housing. It's a difference between low income and affordable. Affordable is like me who have a government job and can get some housing near my job. Low incomes is the least of ours. We want to make sure there's tons of low income housing, and what better than the faith community to do it? There's wraparound services there. We can partner with the county and mental health and bring mental health in. And so we just have, these churches aren't zoned to build housing. And so we need to go in and do a statewide overlay to let these churches these congregations do housing. So I'm gonna take a breath. I want to do bold legislation. You know, I want to make sure that we can get abortions. We wanted this to be a sanctuary state where women can come in, fly in, get an abortion here in the state of California, because simply we do not want women going back in these back rooms or taking turpentine or all this stupid stuff that we know that people do when they're desperate. And so these are the kind of bold legislation I want to do. I am endorsed by, here we go, let me take a breath. I'm endorsed by the LA Times, the California Legislative Black Caucus, the California Legislative Progressive Caucus, Los Angeles Supervisor Holly Mitchell, State Treasurer Fiona Ma, State Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Laura. When I say the Legislative Black Caucus, I'm speaking of Steve Bradford, Sidney Carmichael Dove, Isaac Bryan, Reginald Jones Sawyer. I'm also endorsed by a lot of the Latina Caucus, Senator Lena Gonzalez. I'm sorry, I left off Assemblywoman Maya Bonta from the Black Caucus. We have Wendy Carrillo, Adrian Nazarian. I have Assemblymember Alex Lee. Let's go to our community organizations. I'm lifted up by them: the Black Women's Democratic Club, Black Women Organizing for Political Action, Black Women for Wellness, the California Environmental Voters, California Federation of Teachers, the California Teachers Association, Consumer Attorneys, SEIU California, the LA County Federation of Labor, LA Voice Action, Planned Parenthood, NARAL, Smart Justice, Stonewall, UDW, the community, the ground community that service our people stand with me because they believe that I will go in there and make really, really bold change. I'm not afraid. You've seen, I put myself on the line for others, for workers, for people for the lower of us. These were young women just coming into the party. They were lower staff. I put my body, when I turned it in, I knew I was going to get fired. But as you see, I know when I do God's work, I ain't worried about getting fired. I wasn't worried about eating. I got my own business that's been around for 20 years. The McKinnor Group, it does well. I'm not worrying about eating. I'm not worried about any of that because I know God got me and he put me here to do this work. And so I'm going to go in and do some bold stuff. I'm Tina McKinnor. Vote for me, Assembly 61 and 62. I'm going to be quiet now and let y'all ask me some questions.
All right, and you'd also probably do a little preaching here and there, couldn't
Well,
you?
I see, I work for LA Voice. I didn't before that, but they softened me up. This this way that I'm able to connect now, like I have all this experience, but after working with these congregations and this multiracial, multi-faith congregation, let me tell you, it has lit me on fire, and I'm ready to roll.
All right, all right. So, very clearly, so that everybody knows, please tell us what office you are running for, what position you are running for, okay?
So I'm running for Assembly District 62 to complete the term of Autumn Burke, Assemblywoman Autumn Burke, who resigned in February. So this is a special election. In the primary special election on April 5th, I came in first. I got the most votes because my issues and values align with the district. And so on June 7th, this will be the general of the special. So whoever wins straight out, and me and my opponent, I won't mention his name, we're on the ballot, and whoever wins straight out will take office immediately. And then I'm also on the ballot for the new redistricting seat. We all did the census last year. We went through a redistricting. So I'm now running for AD 61, which is the primary on the June 7th ballot. And then I'll be on to run for the new term once I come in the top two, because it's 5 on the ballot for that one. And then in November, I have to run in the general. So I'm ending up running 3 times, which is a very difficult race. You have to raise a lot of money, and it's not easy.
So you're on the, I don't know if it's going to come through, but you're on the ballot twice.
Vote Tina
Okay.
twice.
Right. So 62 is the current, but will be the old district come January. So that's the 62nd district, and replacing the position from Autumn Burke. And then the redistricting, which I think it loses, is it El Segundo? I think
And a
El
little
Segundo
bit of
falls out
Gardena.
of it. Yeah,
El Segundo and some of Gardena falls out of it.
fall out
And
of it,
so
and then it
we
picks up a
pick
little
up
piece.
we
Yeah,
pick up Venice, all of Venice. And so we moved kind of west, Venice, and then a part of LA City Council member Marquise Harris Dawson, who endorsed me as well. Both of those councilmen over there, Mike Bonin and Marquise Harris Dawson, both endorsed me. It picks up Marquise's district.
yeah, yeah. So she's on the. So you ran in April, and you're running in June, and then the June will carry over. Is there something in November again as
In
well?
November, I have to run for the general. So the top 2 from those 5 candidates on the ballot on the 61st, the top 2 will go on to November. It is crazy. I've run many campaigns, you guys. It is crazy, crazy, crazy kind of election, I would have to say to you.
There are so many major issues, and I believe that in the areas that you're covering is hit the hardest by the homeless population. I had read, Tina, that what I think in 2012, 2014, the numbers were like at 50,000 or 60,000 people on the street. But at the current, the numbers are 160,000, and that's not counting when they lift the moratorium. So what I don't understand is why. I mean, there's been a lot of money thrown at homelessness and or shelteredness or without a roof or whatever they want to call it, but basically they're living on the street. Why can't we get a hold on this? And if we're continuing to build apartment buildings, but it's for the affordable and not the low income, and generally that's like 15% or 20%, so which may pan out to be 10 or 15 a unit, we'll never solve the homeless problem that way. So,
I
what are
agree.
some more aggressive ways, or are we really even trying to solve the homeless problem? I guess that's a question.
Well, then this is why I'm going to get this done next year with the faith-based housing, because we're going to build for low income. These congregations have the land. It's just that you have to go city by city to get the permits, and we tried it for 2 years, and we've been bumping our head. So we're going to go in. For me, I want to work with the nonprofit developers. I want to work with labor, because faith-based community, most of these these guys that are in the unions in labor, they're congregation members. We want to make sure people get paid a fair wage and these things. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to try to really work on this and get this passed so that we can start building this housing, which is not even a lot of government funds. They're not even asking for a lot of government money. So this is why I know that we need to get that done. Now, when we talk about some of the stuff that we passed, and I think that we passed it in good mind. We tried, I'm not criticizing my Dems up there, but I don't want to see buildings go up and it's 90 units and only 9 of them are affordable or 9 of them are low income. And that's what the people in the communities are getting pissed about. They're like, you keep putting these big buildings in my community, but where nobody can afford to live in them. Half of them are empty, if you really want to know. And so why can't we just build one big 90 unit building for affordable housing? Why do we have to build so many? And that's not a project. But let me tell you something about low income. I live in Hawthorne. I'm not gonna say where I live. I live in Hawthorne. I have 2 like these weekly hotels on the corner by my house. Best people in the world. These folks live in those hotels. They don't bother nobody. They're respectful. They just want a place to live. They don't have a lot of money. And the rest of the block is homes. Nobody's bothering them, and we're not bothering them and mistreating them, and they're not bothering us and mistreating us. We all have to live together to solve this problem. We cannot think we could push people out of the community because they're homeless. They're not crooks. They're not bad because they become homeless. We have to stop criminalizing being poor, because all of us on this call, I'm sure, can end up that way. We don't know. And I don't want people treating me like this. And you mean I can't go sleep at the park if I become homeless? Where am I going to go? And so I don't know. I got to get there and figure that out and see why we're throwing money. And the homeless don't like shelters, you guys. So they don't want to go sleep in the shelters. They hate shelters. So we got to figure it
out. Okay. Greg, back to you.
So let's unpack that, because there's a lot was in there. Okay, so one of the challenges in running for political office is there seems to be 2 paths to take. Number one is sort of a grassroots, getting community support, getting out there, door knocking, doing events, community briefings, that kind of thing to get that grassroots. And then the second seems to be getting into the money train from big business that have big dollars, and our election process or our electoral process, we don't generally have a way to really communicate. So you rely on advertising, you rely on money. And that's that challenge, because in order to get that level of money, it's hard to get it from grassroots. So then you've got to take corporate money, but then corporate money wants, okay, well, if I'm putting you there, I need something back for that. So how do the balance in that, and does that come into play with the race you're in?
Well, what we've done in the past couple of years, what I didn't mention working at LA Voice Action, is that when I worked there, in nonprofits now, it's a C3 tax status and a C4. The C3 means you can't do partisan. C4 means you can. And so we at LA Voice Action 2 years ago, we ran a community organization, independent expenditure for Holly Mitchell and George Gascon, some of the most progressive folks in the country. And so we did, it was like a pilot program, and we did a partner with labor. But the nonprofits, if they put their funds together, which they're doing now, you don't have to they can protect and elect progressive leaders that will come in and do the work of the people, where you don't always have to rely on big corporate dollars. So I don't have any big corporate dollars, except for if we call the consumer attorneys. But they're like, and consumer attorneys, you guys are, they're attorneys that go out and fight for the consumers. So they actually fight the corporations. So I do have the consumer attorneys. But most of my endorsements, my money came from every family member. My mom and auntie turned into fundraisers. Every family member across the country had to give me some money. And so I raised $63,000 in individual contributions. Of course, the unions are very big, and so they have money, and they came in because I'm going to fight for working families, and they came in and they supported me as well. But then you have these nonprofits that come in and now they can do it. So I am going to be elected by the people at home, the people here from LA County, the organizations from LA County, the unions. We have some elected officials that supported me, so they also gave. But I'm not the big corporate candidate, which allows me to do really well. It allows me to go up there, be bold, fight them because they didn't get me elected. And the only people that could take me out is the community.
You have one convertee, someone who is
I saw
changing.
that.
You saw that, right? I said, okay,
Thank
good.
you. Thank you so much.
There was someone that made a question here about how much it costs to build by faith-based, because we constantly hear that to put up new housing, construction costs are so high that in order to recoup that building costs, rents have to be higher. So there's that challenge of having affordable housing under new construction. But so how does that get met? How does that get tackled?
It's really the land that's expensive. It's the land that's the cost. So to go buy the land and put it's the land use. They don't have that problem. They already have the land. So that's why they're going to be able to, that's why they're a perfect entity to do it, because they have the land. So in order, they raise the money to build it, and it won't cost as much because they have the land already. Everybody else is trying to acquire, excuse me, is trying to acquire the land to do it. And so we don't have to do that. We have the land, and so it's able to do it. We have a couple of them. We have one going up in Inglewood. Can't remember the church. I'm sorry. I can't remember the congregation. But we have one in Inglewood, and we have one like in Koreatown. That's like our private, that we actually got the license to do it. And we're getting ready to start the project.
And they can also use it doesn't have to be traditional type of building. You can use containers are being used. Tiny houses it's smaller housings, but it gives them a place to live and to protect themselves and their families. So it doesn't have to be a 500 unit building that's charging $2,500 a month for 300 square feet. It really does not have to be that. We can be creative about how we if we really care, to get them off the street.
And so the Inglewood one is a 60-unit complex, but it also builds in, I think, a gym and a nursery school. And so it's a development, a multi-use development where people we can have those wraparound services that we talked about. And so this is the first one we're doing. I'll be able to tell you a little bit more once we complete it, but we want to make sure that this is going on across the state. And we just have too many congregations that's willing to do it. And so they want to help. And so we want to make sure that they can do that. I mean, and I don't know all the solutions, but I know this will help.
A couple of questions. This one here, and then Mike, I got yours next. What is your take on Second Amendment gun control for the state of California?
We got to get rid of these guns, guys. We have to get rid of these guns. I mean, I have to admit to you guys, and I'm not gonna lie, I have a gun. I own a gun. I've always had a gun. Since with my ex-husband was a military man. He taught us all how to shoot a gun. But I'm not carrying around my gun. It's locked up. It's for safety. But the way things are going, we may just have to get rid of the guns because we got to protect our kids. This is crazy, y'all, that in 1 week we have all these murders and these mass shootings, and we can't just get immune to this. I think we're going to have to get gun control. We're going to have to get rid of the guns.
And I don't understand. So if a child, an 18-year-old is not responsible enough they're responsible enough to have a driver's license, maybe. A lot of times not. They're not responsible enough in most states to purchase liquor. Correct. or enter an adult establishment. Why can they go into a gun shop at 18 years of age and purchase a gun? That seems to me to be a no-brainer. You have to be 26 years old to rent a car. Why can't you be 25 or 26 or 30 years old in order to own a gun? That's no-brainer. That's not an issue.
And why are these young people taking up arms and going kill people? This is really an epidemic in this country that's out of control. Why is this happening? So this is really some deep stuff. I think I know that we're going to have to lobby our national, our Congress folks and our senators, and make sure that we ban these, do some better gun laws, some stricter gun laws. I would rather get rid of all of them. I don't even know how we do that, to tell you the truth. I would have to think that through a little bit, but it's just too, I mean, because how do we, most
Yeah, that's
people
not going to happen.
that's not going to happen.
That's
And
not
most
going to
Yeah,
happen.
people,
white America is gonna let you do
Taking
that.
steps.
who's not
Taking
going to let us do it?
steps.
The
The
gun
first thing
lobby?
really is to try and ban the assault rifles, especially the ones that can be modified. I don't know what an 18-year-old needs with an AR-15. They're not going out hunting with a hunting rifle. I can see that, but an AR-15, which can
They're
be
not going
modified
hunting with
from
that.
semi-automatic to automatic, is a challenge. All right.
And
So our
I
next
think we
question.
just, the a judge just said that it was unconstitutional and brought this, the assault weapons where we could get them back in California, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So we have to fight this.
Our next question is that is there a movement among Black women this year to get Black women elected? He says, I have not heard of one link for Biden. What are your plans for anti-Black racial aggression?
Well, I want to, my whole tenure in the legislature will be attacking things that are systemic. I'm trying to turn over everything that's systemic, and starting with like these driver's license. That's systemic. We did great by making sure that everybody can vote. That was systemic. Like everybody coming out of jail and prison now in the state of California can vote. Any kind of things that's systemically put in place by law and government to hold us down, I want to go back and overturn that. And so that's a lot of stuff too. Now, I'm not going to be popular. So know that, guys. Like I'm going to be the most unpopular person ever. I'm going to even be unpopular among my people sometime, because it's the outside noise will try to throw darts at me because I'm trying to do the right things. But I'm going to try to really go in and overturn some of this systemic racism policy that's been put into California and into the country. Also, there is a movement to elect Black women. We have tons of Black women running. We got our Black mayor running. We have we have Black women running in city council races and school board races across the assembly. We just sworn in one Black woman from Northern California. We have about 5 of us running this cycle. And so we're really trying to get Black women in the legislation, because we know that in 2016, when everybody voted in Trump, Black women stood strong. We knew how to vote, and we made sure we did not vote for him, and we voted for Hillary. So I think people are trusting Black women right now.
All right. I think that's the end of our formalized.
Did Michael have something?
Yeah, Mike. I read Michael's, so he has one. He may have a follow up thereafter. But so in the next 2 or 3 minutes, if you could just sort of wrap up and summarize, what you're passionate about. You shared some of that. Repeat, what the offices that you're running for, your top 5 or 3 things that I think it was 4.5 or 3.5, something like that, that you're doing. So remind us of that. And of course, encourage us to get out and vote.
Well, guys, we can't afford any mediocrity right now. We have to make sure that we're electing people that are standing for us. Look at people, research them, go online. Don't just look at the mailers that come in. Go online, do your own research, because we need bold legislators that are not afraid to tackle the establishment. And my name is Tina McKinnor. I'm running for Assembly AD 61 and AD 62. Vote Tina twice. I am very passionate about housing and immigration, police accountability, and transformative justice. We need you to vote. We need everybody in the community. It's your voice. We could turn this around. This is the year that we could turn things around in the state legislature, where it's tons of progressives running. We want to bring bold policy to our community. So please, please sign those ballots, turn them in. I'm endorsed by Holly Mitchell, LA Times, SEIU, LA Cali Federation of Labor, and go to my website, Tina4ca.com. Again, my name is Tina McKinnor. Thank you guys so much for having me on the community briefing.
Tina Simone McKinnor, right?
Tina
Yeah.
Simone. I know. I put my middle name in there, which I never use, but for some reason I wanted to use my whole name. Tina, like Nina Simone. Tina Simone McKinnor.
Cool. Crystal, back to you.
Thank you, guys.
Crystal, did she freeze?
I think so.
Oh my goodness. Hope she thaws out momentarily. So, anyway, thank you so much. Did anybody have a question or burning question for Tina that they? Uh-oh. So, let's see if I can restart the recording. Oh, she's back. Oh, okay, good. Uh, welcome back, Crystal. We missed you. Did someone have a question for Tina that didn't get addressed? Can open up the forum. Anybody? Okay, Stephen.
Is it possible if we bring up the district, the map? Or can we share with everyone the area?
Your audio was a little muted. Can anybody?
Is it possible we can bring up the map that shows the district?
Oh, the map. Oh, okay. Let me see. If you guys carry on, let me see if I can grab that.
You have Carolyn Fowler here. She says Black voter returns are lowest at this point. Our community must get out and vote. Please spread the word. Well, as for the Black vote, we want to make sure that we really are turning out, you guys. I would say in the city of Inglewood, we turn out. They really turn out. I have to give Inglewood that. They turn out to vote. But we need the surrounding cities like West Hawthorne, Lawndale, Gardena, West Athens, Westmont. We need to turn out and vote. It's extremely important for our voices to be heard because it's about us, guys. We know that we get hit the hardest. So please, please turn those ballots in.
Michael, you got a question?
Michael Browning, you have a question?
Yes, I do. And so it's a little follow-up on the last question. We all know that because of Black women voters, Trump is not in office. And I just don't feel the excitement within the Black community about the mayoral race, about any of these assembly races. And I don't know what these campaigns are doing to motivate Black women because they often get their Black men out to vote as well. And so I just don't know what's happening there. And so my question is around housing. So there's a lot of funding to get folks off the street and put them in places. And folks are trying to do some affordable housing. But what about putting money into the hands and resources into the hands of folks who are about to lose what they got so that they can keep it?
Well, we had the rental, what do you call it?
Moratorium.
Not just the moratorium, we had rent recovery money that went out for almost about 18 months now. Because
no. I'm talking about in general, after the COVID and after all that's done, we still are going to have some folks who are about to lose what their grandmamas left them, lose what they have. What kind of money and resources can be put into those folks' hands instead of all the money going to the folks who are on the street who may never get off the street?
Well, that's something that we need to be lobbying to our legislators right now. If I get in June 7th, right? When I get in on June 7th, that it's budgets on right now, but maybe that's something I could go and ask for. I can say, can we get a pot of money? We got to put something together, right? Can we get money to help save people's homes? Can we have something where people could come fill out to get a grant to save their own homes because they also suffered and couldn't pay their mortgages and stuff? Well, some of the mortgages, the federal mortgages were also, we had a moratorium on them, but not all mortgages had a moratorium, but some of them did as well. Some people were able to not pay their mortgages, NHS, yes. Some of them were able to not pay their mortgages, but none of these programs helped everybody. They all didn't work, let's be clear. We were running the money for the renters and it wasn't getting to everybody correctly. That's why we still have a moratorium. And so thank you for that suggestion. That's something that I will take with me when I go to the assembly and try to see if we can make a budget play because we do have money right now to do something like that. But we also have the school in I need $100 million for Inglewood because the school is in receivership and they're closing schools. we're in trouble all over the place, y'all.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So a lot of people who run for office and they get elected, and so now they're there. And one of the challenges is either crafting, authoring bills, and getting them passed. And quite frankly, I've looked at some of our past assembly members and look at their record of getting bills passed, and it's pretty low. So, what exposure or what experience or what tactical approach would you take in trying to get some of those bills passed? Because you've got to, I can imagine it's some amount of horse trading you got to do to get that done. Get consensus.
First part of it is our progressive movement is running tons of people for assembly across the state. We have to get people in there that have the political will to do this bold work. We can't do things the same way. It's not going to work. So that's number one. And the ones that are not reliable, beholden to the corporations and things like that. So hopefully some of our progressives will get in, and we'll have some political will to do this. Plus, I am going to co-govern with my community-based organizations, which means voters. You get voters coming in and helping us lobby for this stuff. And these ground orgs are no joke. Like I mentioned how we in the LA Voice helped pull past SB2. So I'm saying to say this, with the unions, with the new folks that are now entering the civic engagement world, the nonprofit world, the people on the ground, I think we can move some of this legislation because we'll have an inside-outside game. And I think that's how you do it. You got to get the community involved in some of this stuff. It's not just me. I can't go in and get anything past myself. I'm going to need you guys to write letters. I'm going to need you guys to to call into the member's office. I'm going to need you to show up for hearings. And when I get in there, my office is going to help do civic engagement lessons so that you guys can do this with me, because I can't do it by myself. I can't do it just with one legislator. But I want to have an inside-outside game with the help of the community.
Thank you. I've got one more question, and then Yolanda, I'll get to you momentarily. So you're queued up, and then back to you, Crystal. So one of my passions, and I know it hits home for Crystal as well, is financial literacy, and we've been trying to get legislation in state of California. Last year, California ranked 34th in the nation in incorporating financial literacy into our schools. This year, we're 35th. And there is an assembly bill, I think it was 2145, that was drafted by someone in San Bernardino County. It got watered down a lot, so a lot of the teeth were extracted from the bill. But hopefully that can be added to your list of things, because I think, this world revolves around money, and financial literacy isn't taught in the schools. If it's not taught at home, then our people really are at a loss for that. So hopefully that's something you can incorporate.
That's systemic. That's another systemic issue. Why teach? We don't want to teach our Black kids financial literacy. So I would definitely take that on, because anything systemic, I want to chip those things away.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yolanda, are you ready? You had your hand raised?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I just love her. She is just, you know how passionate I am, and I'm an outsider. So woo to you. Welcome. We love you. I just want to say, as a proponent of education, I love all the focus of all the conversations you're having about low income. But remember, if you educate your community, you change their lives forever. And so there are a couple of bills out there. Shirley Weber's daughter's got an AB 2774, which is about giving the power to Black parents in public schools because they don't have any power. Our Latino parents run all our internal committees, and African-American parents don't have a seat at the table. And I love Shirley Chisholm, and Shirley Chisholm says, if they don't give you a seat at the chair, bring a folding chair. So I've been bringing folding chairs as an outsider to everything on education. And so I want to talk to you about one. I'm in Marquise Lawson's district visiting my nonprofits called the Knowledge Shop. And I also run a national organization called the National Association of African American Parents and Youth. And we will get behind you, because I have to tell you, I'm kind of sick to death of our career politicians. We need some new energy, new blood. And from what you said today, you're going to bring it. So I'm going to give you a space to have this conversation with my parents and my members of my community. And if you want it, just give me a call.
I put my email address in the chat. Please email me and I'd love to.
Thank you very much.
You just gave me all kind of goosebumps.
Tina, there's a couple of Sydney Kamlager. There's some politicians that are coming into space that really are touching, especially from a Black woman standpoint, where we're trying to protect our children and education and educating our children and preparing them for their future is really important. So I love your passion. I definitely are going to vote for you. I want to know, so there are 15 of us here on the platform right now, 14 including you, 15 including you. How can we help? How can we make sure, are there organizations out there? I know Carolyn Fowler put some information on there. Andre, who is the redistricting commissioner. How can we help in order to get people to the polls on the 7th? Because there is so much. We can't sit this one out. Just because Obama's not running does not mean that we can't. We have to vote. If we as Black people don't get our voices out there, they discount us like we don't matter at all. So that's not on them. That's on us. We have to be the one to take the initiative to want to make change in our community. Our children depend on us in order to make sure there's a place for them. So how do we do that? Are there organizations we can reach out to support in order to send letters or emails or use all of our social media platforms right now for the next 10 days to get people to the polls?
Well, I would say use your social media platform to list, go to the LA County Register of Voters. They have all the voting centers there. You could put those links out on your website. What I used to do before I even got in politics, I called every single one of my family members, like this contact list that you got in here. Instead of phone, you don't even have to worry about phone banking voters. Phone bank your contact list and tell them to vote. The voting is going on all across the state. If you're voting, if you know people that live in my cities, Inglewood, Westchester, Marina Del Rey, Playa Vista, Gardena, West Athens, Westmont, tell them vote Tina twice. But just call your friends and family and tell them, you got your ballot, mail that ballot in. Every person in California has a ballot. Mail that vote in. So I phone bank my own contact list. That is super important because that's your friends and family. And look, I used to do it. I started doing it maybe 20 years ago. I remember the first time I did it on a Tuesday morning. This is before we had the mail-in ballots. My cousins would wake up, what's wrong? Because, when people calling you early, Black folks, we think something wrong. What's wrong? Now on election day, they used to me. So now I just make them a slate though, y'all, and send them the slate. But let's train our own family and friends first to vote. Go through your contact lists, call them, make sure they're voting. If you have neighbors, walk your block. Ask your neighbors, do you know about the candidates? Walk your block. And on your social media, do the same thing. If it's people you're supporting and you're a trusted messenger to your family, make a slate, post it on your Facebook. Say, this is who I'm supporting. A lot of people. Another thing about my smart cousins that I grew up with, right? Like all of us are the same age. Tina, we don't want you telling us who to vote. Then on election day, they send me the slate because they ain't looked. They just want to talk smack to you. So make sure that you do that. Our churches, a lot of our churches and congregations are voting centers. So that's another way to connect through your churches and congregations. Those are the ones that's what I would suggest more than anything. You can always email me if you want to volunteer or you want a yard sign or something like that. Yard signs help people pass by your house, see who you're voting for. Email me, let me know if you want to volunteer and make calls for my campaign or text message in the last days or just to volunteer and make phone calls.
All right. Thank you very much. Miss Robin Billups is joining us today. She got something to say.
Hey guys, again, I truly miss this opportunity. This clinical trial that I'm going through goes from Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So that's why I'm a hit and a miss. But know that, I continue to read and I continue to share stuff with our team so that they can add it to the chat box. Voting is fundamental. Voting is the only power that we have in America right now. And that's the reason why they don't want us to vote. That's the reason why they're doing all of this redistricting and all of this kind of carrying on. And I think when we first started with the community briefing, we were very early on talking about how important the vote is. So Tina, again, thank you for your passion. Thank you for your compassion. And thank you for, not being scared. Because what tends to happen is people get in a position and then now they're worried about keeping that position. It's not about the next election. It's about the current election and what's going on in our communities. Regarding this real estate piece, we've had Michael Anderson on here multiple times talking about how to make that happen. And part of that has to do with the fact all of the upfront costs that are associated with that are associated with a project and makes the project protracted. So part of what he's presented to us is an opportunity to land bank some land. And when these churches have land already, so that, that's a big hurdle right there. But the other part is the permits, the fees, and all of these things. So again, I've done a lot of presentations to churches, but I will only come as long as the pastor is not the head of the CDC, because that work is a specialty piece of work, not only in lending, but in the community. And so again, finally, I will say, this community briefing continues to be an exceptional resource for our community. And it's incumbent upon everybody who's on this screen right now to help grow this audience. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody, because people keep saying, well, I can't find and I don't know. No. The stuff is out there. The question is, will you plug into it and will you share it with someone? And finally, I will say this. Black folks, we cannot disconnect from these brown people. We can't. We have to learn how to create alliances with the folks who are like-minded, who are already benefiting from the stripes that Black folks have on their backs. So we can't say, I'm only for Black people. That dog don't hunt no more. It can't. We don't have the numbers. We don't show up in the numbers. We have the numbers, but we don't show up. So we have to play with and push with the folks who are willing to push with us. And again, you guys, so our team at the community briefing, God bless you. God keeps on blessing you. Keep bringing exceptional people on here with exceptional resources for us to all benefit from it.
Amen.
Thank you, Robin.
Amen.
Oh my God. Thank you. And blessings. And I'll keep you in my prayers, sister.
Oh yeah, I'm a miracle. So when you see me or meet me, you better touch me. I know I'm a walking miracle.
Oh my, I love
now that's a whole nother thing that I could preach on, but I ain't going there right now.
You go ahead, Ms. Phillips.
To my community briefing family, thank you. I just appreciate you guys.
Hey, Crystal, take a quick look there. This is what we're talking about. Look at this. In this district, 284 registered voters, 284,000. The turnout was 10%.
It's crazy.
10% of the registered voters voted in that last election. So that's that number. When people ask, well, what can I do?
There you go. Ms. Emma Maxey just said anyone that would like to come to my house on Saturday after 2 can come, bring their ballots for their community, make sure all that vote. I do this every year for every election.
Exactly. And a lot of people show up, they come out. I have tables in my front yard. I have refreshments. We have charts and we go through every single person. And we don't tell you how to vote, but we want you to vote. So
all righty.
Want to come by, you're welcome. I live at 1130. I won't put it in my thing. 1134 South Redondo Boulevard.
Okay.
You have cookies?
12th Street, north of San Vicente in Mid-Wilshire.
You gonna have cookies?
I'll have cookies.
All righty. Oh, you live in the neighborhood I grew up in.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll pop on by as well.
It should be fun. But we want people. I am Tina. I love you. She's my law pie sister. I've known her for years, and she's a wonderful person. She will make a great candidate, and I appreciate you. I'm sorry I didn't get in early enough to hear you. I was on another call, but I had to come.
Love you.
Tina, you have won our hearts.
one announcement. I'm having a meet and greet and walk on Saturday. I'm bringing down the California State Treasurer, Fiona Ma, and California State Insurance Commissioner, Ricardo Lara. They'll be in Inglewood from 10 to 11 on Saturday at 8300 Park Circle, Inglewood. The Park Circle in Inglewood, the little circle. And they'll be there along with State Senator Steve Bradford to meet and greet our community because, we don't get statewide just come in the community. They're going to walk a few doors with me. And then we'll have a host of community folks come out. But this is an opportunity. We're going to do a walk, but this is an opportunity to meet two of our candidates that are on the statewide ballot.
Awesome.
And
I'm going to
you guys.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to make sure on all of my social media platforms to vote. That's going to be my primary message for the next 10 days. So we need to get out and vote, guys. Thank you so much, Tina. You've been awesome. Stephen, who do we have next week?
In the same vein of political advocacy, we have Los Angeles Council member Curran Price, who represents the 9th District.
All right, so we have Kern coming in next week. I saw him the other day. He's excited. Guys, my heart is heavy today. Last week, I told you guys I'm from the city of Buffalo, and we had older people shot to death for no apparent reason. Yesterday, just an amazing tragedy. 19 little babies murdered, just butchered in their classroom, their last day of school. We can't just keep turning the TV on and seeing our children die in the street. For me, I have a problem with you telling me about my women's rights and eliminating abortion rights for women and telling me you're concerned about conception of life at the conception, but once they get here and they're living and breathing and walking, you don't seem to care about them. So I have a problem with that. I don't know about anybody else, but I got a problem. Because if you care about life, you care life from conception to the time that they breathe their last breath when God takes them from here. You can't be partial about bits and pieces of it. So it needs our voice. We're not going to make a change for Black people unless we step up and rise for all Black people. Anyone that has dark skin that came from the Mother Earth of Africa, we're all the same bodies. We're all the same Black people. We need all the same Black voice. If we rose up, all Black people across the world, with one voice, we then have power. We cannot remain powerless and make changes in this country and protect our children. So that's my soapbox, and we need to make change. So please use your platform, speak up. Don't be afraid. Be like Tina. Tina ain't afraid. She's just speaking out. You speak out, and all those other crazies out there are not afraid to speak out. We need to speak out and protect our own. So that's my message for this week. Let's pray for the families, the parents that have suffered the terrible tragedy in Texas, as well as the terrible tragedy in Buffalo, and I believe there was a tragedy down in Orange County. We cannot keep this up and say that we care about the people and have empathy for people that are living and breathing. We just can't keep praying and supporting. We have to have action. So please, let's do our part. And we will see you guys again next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Tina, we behind you, my sister. Love your passion. Please come back. Anytime. This platform is a community platform, so even once we elect you in there, you have something to say, you need our support, please come back and use this platform to help us get our messages and get the information to our community, especially when we're the center of focus in our communities. All righty. So thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. We salute you, Tina. We're supporting you. We will be at the polls to take care of you. Miss Emma, I'm going to drop by on Saturday with my mask on. With my mask on. And I'm going to come hear about some of the ballots. I will be this weekend starting to do my research, so I may need some assistance. Miss Robin, good to see you. Whenever you can drop by. We know
Yes,
you
yes,
love
yes.
us. You know you're here. You're part of the team.
Prayers and blessings.
Prayers and blessings. Miss Robin, please have your mask on when you go out there once you get
Yes.
out of quarantine, my dear.
I'm wearing it anyway. You know, COVID just a tax. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, it does. It just attacks. But your son told me on Thursday that he feels you need to stay at home. All righty. Love you all. See you
Nice.
guys next week.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thank
Be
you.
safe.
Thank you guys so much.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.